Hey y'all, it's Diane with Shawcraft One and my old barn door, and I am coming back to show you the last beading that I was going to show you on the last video, but my camera kept flashing at me that the video was too long and it was going, hey, shut up, you know. So anyways, well, I'm going to show you how to do a caged bead real quick. It won't take long to show you. Hopefully, it's a little harder to do it on camera, so it takes me a little longer. So I apologize for the length of that video. So, okay. So what we want to do first is we want to take our wire, it doesn't really matter. You can use craft wire. I just have this in my stash. It's 20 gauge wire that I got from Hobby Lobby, but you can use pretty much any kind of wire that you want. It's whatever your preference is. So we're going to cut an 8-inch piece of this wire. Okay, so let me just measure it over here at 8 inches and snip it off. Okay, so what I like to do is I try to straighten my wire as much as I can, but again, you don't want to mess with it too much, because the more you heat it and the more you rub it, the harder the wire gets, and it makes it harder to work with. Okay, so we just have one bead. I just have a little simple little bead here, and then we're going to take our round nose pliers. Once we've straightened our wire, we're again going to line this up straight or flush right here with our round nose pliers. Lord of mercy, I can't talk. And then we're just going to make a loop. Okay, so we're going to loop it all the way around until it comes back flush. Okay, so it's going to look like that. Okay, and then we pull this out and you have the little loop there at the end. And then again, you're just going to take your pliers. I'm going to put that in the edge of my pliers, and I'm just going to start curling this or swirling it, whatever you want to call it. So we're just going to swirl this up against itself. We're just going to keep bending it around and around until we have a good little swirl here. Okay, so once we get a little bit of a swirl here, we're going to stop for a minute. You'll have something that looks like that, and we're going to go to the other end, and we're going to do the same thing. Okay, so we're going to line these up flush in our round nose pliers, good and flush. Make our loop again, just like that. Pull it out, and you have your loop, and then we're going to swirl this end. Okay, so just keep bringing it up and swirling it around itself. Okay, so now we have that swirl there and this swirl on the other end. So what we want to do is we're going to swirl both ends all the way into each other. So we're just going to keep swirling, and we want our swirls to be fairly the same size. So we'll swirl a little bit on this end, and then we're going to switch and come back to this end and keep swirling it. So your swirl's going to get bigger and bigger. Okay. And I'm just going to keep going back and forth from each end and swirling a little at a time until my swirls meet in the middle. Whoops, got too big of a hurry. Okay, and And as my swirls are meeting in the middle, I want to kind of make sure that they're about the same size. Okay, so you're going to have something that looks like that. All right, now once you have your swirls, you're going to take your round nose pliers and you're going to just take one portion of your round nose pliers, or if your hole is a little bigger, you can take both, whatever works the best for you, and you're just going to kind of spread that out. You're just going to push up on it a little, and if it bends out, you can, you can play with it and bend it back in, but you just kind of want to push up a little and spread those wires out, kind of like that. Okay, and again, straighten as you go, just to keep it, make sure it has a good shape to it. And it doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to fiddle with it once you get it on the bead anyway. So it's going to look something like that. And then you're going to take the same, you're going to turn it over and do the same thing with this one. So you're just going to kind of push it out. And I'm just grabbing each wire with my fingernail and just making sure that it's evened out and pulled separate. There we go. Okay. So now you have something that kind of looks like this. Okay. So then you're going to hold it with this hand and you're going to take your pliers right here in kind of the center. This is a little fiddly. All jewelry making, I think, is a little fiddly. And you're just going to twist this all the way around. Until it makes like a cage. So you're going to have something that looks kind of like that. Now you don't want, you don't always want this whole piece right here. So you can fiddle with that and fix it. So that it's not so bent right there. So I'm just going to twist this back around like that. Just like that. Okay, so now you have like a little wire bead. Okay, so then we're going to take our bead that we have and we're going to kind of open this back up just a little. Just open it up until our bead fits in there. Okay, so we're just going to put our bead in there. And once we get our bead in there, then we can play around with our wire. And we're just going to push this down and push this down and keep pulling it. And you can use your pliers if you don't have fingernails. I use my fingernails a lot for this. And you're just going to fiddle with it until you get it placed in there where you want it. Okay, and then you're going to find your bead hole. You're just going to kind of push your bead around until you can get your bead hole lined up with the top here. So you want your bead hole to line up with that. And sometimes you might have to take your pliers and twist them a little. Excuse me. Okay, so we've kind of got it lined up, if you can see that. So I have my bead hole lined up, and then I'm going to take a length of my 20 gauge wire, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and see how much I need to go all the way through that, and snip a piece off. And I'm going to make an eye pin. So we're just going to put our loop here on the bottom. Okay, just like that. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to go right here, and I'm just going to kind of bend it back a little so that it straightens the head of that up. And then we can close it on up. It's really hard to do this on camera, guys. So let's just close that. And you can, you know, you can piddle with it and till you get it where you need it. Okay. So now we're just going to straighten our wire out, trying not to get it too heated. And then we're going to take our eye pin that we just made, and we're going to push it in through the top hole here. Let me move some of this because it's making it hard to focus. Okay, so just take our eye pin, thread it through the top hole right there and through the bead hole, bringing it out the other end of the bead hole, and you see how that comes out sideways? So you're just going to pull it back in a little and kind of maneuver your wire, well, I've bent my eye pin, to where it comes out the top there, okay? Just like that. So you have something that looks like that, and then we're going to take it all the way through to the bottom. And now that we have it kind of in our eye pin, we can piddle around with it and mess around with it and, you know, bring our cage down some over the bead. So you can kind of stretch it out a little and just, you know, fix it until it's pleasing to the eye. Now you can take your pliers and you can tug on this little wire right here. If you twist it and tug on it, it gives it a little bit of a design, but it also tightens up the bead. So you can just keep twisting until it's as tight as you want it. And you can do that all the way around the bead if you want to. And then I just take it and I just kind of use my pliers and pull it around some till I have it where I want it. Okay, so now you have it in the cage. And then again, we're just going to take our round nose pliers, go flush up to the bead there, and make our wire wrap. Just like that. And then you're just going to wrap it around however many times you need to wrap it to make it tight. And then you can either trim it off or you can curl this piece. And I think I'm going to trim it off since we already have the swirls at the top. Get rid of that piece, and then I'm going to put this back in here so that I can make this as flush as possible. Oh, sorry. So I'm just going to keep going around. Making sure that my wire is good and flat up there at the top so it doesn't catch on anything. And then I'm just going to take my pliers and I'm just going to kind of straighten it all out, make sure it's where I want it. And then there you have a wire wrapped, or a caged bead. That's what it's called. It's called a caged bead. So yeah, so that is the second part of the last video that I did, showing you how to do the beads on the go and how to do the swirls and the wire wrapping and all of that. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, you can leave them in the comment box below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you will, and you can hit the notification bell to be notified when I upload new videos. So I hope y'all have a great day. Big hugs.